My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years, I was stranded on an island with only one goal. Survive.
Oliver Queen is alive.
Now I will fulfill my father's dying wish to use the list of names he left me and bring down those who are poisoning my city. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else.
Hello and welcome to the Arrowfans UK episode review podcast. This one will be focusing on episode 15, called The Promise. I'm Bradley, and I'm joined as usual by Corey. Hello, Corey.
Hello, everyone.
Now, looking ahead to this episode last week, and for the last few weeks, since we know that this was going to be the Big Island episode, we've been very excited by the prospect of everything that's going to happen. But I actually found this to be a little bit underwhelming from kind of the hype we got.
Yeah.
And just in general from like the promos, Mark Guggenheim, Stephen Amell, even all the TV news sites that got to see the episode before it aired, were all saying this is a fantastic episode, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both went in with high expectations, and it didn't really meet them. I think we were talking about it could top Sacrifice from last season, definitely didn't do that. I mean, it was by no means a bad episode, but it definitely had been overhyped. I think we both agree on that one.
Yeah, it was a good episode. There wasn't anything bad about it. There just wasn't that kind of factor that makes it go from good to let's rewatch this 15 times in a day.
Yeah.
Which is what Sacrifice was. I will say though, Mark Guggenheim said in the producer's preview that this one makes Sacrifice look like a student film from the 1980s. I would agree there.
Yeah.
In terms of the action.
Yeah.
Because you could tell that the stunt department and everyone put in quadruple overtime every day to get that done. So in terms of that, it was massive. I mean, I suppose comparing to destroying a city.
That's true.
But there was probably a touch of CGI there.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it was... I think my main concern was the fact that we knew all of it already, or most of it, and the rest of it we can just sort of fill in the gaps, and they're just saying, yeah, this is what happened. We've been hinting at it for ages. We had the whole Oliver a few episodes ago saying about Slade found out from someone else.
Yeah.
And then, so we thought, well, Ivor's obviously going to tell him because Sarah's not going to, because of her concern over it happening. And Oliver was obviously not going to. So it had to be Ivor.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't really have that surprise factor. I mean, who knows, if we'd had that, we might have appreciated it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem was Arrow I love for the fact that it combines everything to work together. The story, the action, the music, which I always love, but I'll get to that later. And everything in it just goes together really well. And in this episode, the story was kind of... I don't know what the right word for it is, but we knew it, so they focused a lot more on the action because they didn't have to go with the surprise factor of here's this piece of story that you've never been able to predict before.
Yeah.
Chew on that for a while. They had to go with the massive fight on the deck, and all that kind of thing, because there wasn't that surprise, throw it in your face kind of element to the story.
No. I totally know what you mean with that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good episode. I'm not going to disagree with that. There was nothing wrong with it at all. But
it just didn't really meet our expectations. I guess that's what we're trying to say. It just didn't have that little bit extra that turns a good episode into a great episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the great episodes, obviously Sacrifice, you had the Tommy death at the end.
Yeah.
In fact, you had the whole idea of the actual earthquake going off.
Yeah.
Because it's 5-6 minutes to go, and Oliver says to Malcolm, we've stopped the device, and then suddenly there's another device, and it goes off. You think on these kind of shows, they don't go that. They get close and then stop it.
Yeah.
But there was a surprise factor of they did actually just destroy half the city, and then they did just kill off the best friend.
Yep.
3 ghosts is all kind of surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the great episodes. There's probably a couple more that I'm not really thinking of right now, but those kind of ones where you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And if you do know it, you think about it, you think, no way can that happen. It's not going to happen. And then it just does.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. This one didn't do that.
I think also we'd got a fair bit of promotional material as well before it. So again, like you say, we'd already kind of known what was going to happen from bits in previous episodes. We got a lot of promo stuff from it as well, which gave a little bit more away. So yeah, you just kind of knew what was going to happen. I mean, in our podcast last week, we probably could have, if we'd gone through it in quite detail, we probably could have planned the whole episode out to an extent and probably not been far wrong with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we should have done that, shouldn't we? Right in the middle of these 2 podcasts, just have a podcast dedicated to saying what the promise is going to be like.
Yeah.
After Time of Death, that would have been good, because, yeah, I mean, it's definitely one you want to rewatch, because, it had that effect of looking good. It's the kind of one where you watch it and you think, this is really good. But actually, if you look at it more closely, there's not much story to it.
No, I know what you mean. I was thinking that when I was watching it. Like you say, you've got a lot of action. Visually, it's very good, but there's not a lot to sort of delve into and, really analyse. The story's quite, in your face, you could see a lot of it coming. But, yeah, I mean, we're probably going round in circles a bit now, to sort of say it's a good episode, why, and it's not a great episode and why. But, yeah, it's probably a 7 out of 10, really. I'd give it.
I'd say 8.
Yeah. I'll give it 7.5 then. Stick in the middle.
Assuming sacrifices are 4,000 out of 10. You can't really go wrong there. But yeah, it's yeah, I mean, the action made up for the lack of story, but you can't just have an action episode. Just the same as like Blast Radius didn't work quite well because, well, the story was not great, but there was very little action as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so we'll move on and talk about the present day scenes. Obviously this episode it was reversed in the fact that usually we get 85% present day scenes and 20% flashbacks. It was reversed this week and we got 20% present day scenes and 80% flashbacks. And this worked really well last year with the Odyssey, and it worked quite well here again, especially with the present day scenes, because you couldn't really fit those present day scenes into an actual episode of 80% present day scenes, could you?
No, I mean, if we did that, then we probably have more of Slade looking at paintings, and this is Arrow, not Art Lovers TV.
Yes. Well, actually, I actually really enjoyed those scenes, purely for the fact that you had the contrast of Slade almost laughing, right, at Oliver's facial expressions that were of total, I don't know, hate or something.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of hate and fear, I guess, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as well as the music that was completely and utterly intense, even when there were funny scenes.
Yeah.
You could tell that Slade was trying to be funny, and then you've just got Oliver with his facial expression of like, how in hell can you be here? And why are you here? I'm scared for my family. And the music. And it just worked really well in contrast, because as I've rewatched the reveal scene from the last episode quite a few times.
Yeah.
And every single time I'm sitting there laughing because I just think it's absolutely brilliant that as the viewer we get to see this. And I did the exact same through most of the present day scenes here because it's just the idea of Slade being alive in the present day and being with Oliver.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So that idea was so much better than Oliver being shot again by his mother and having to bring someone else into the Arrow Cave to help.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they couldn't have gone that way again. They handled it really well, the way they put it all together.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, that the drama, the real-time sort of present-day scenes would be them repairing the Arrow lair.
Yeah, I remember that.
That would have been pretty awful compared to this.
Yeah, that. Well, I guess those scenes would have been a hell of a lot shorter, but we probably would have just been skipping through them, I imagine.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the best thing. It'd have been almost as bad as watching Slade look at art collection for 32 minutes an episode if it had been, a normal episode.
I think we actually talked about if they did a whole episode on them just repairing the Arrow Cave.
Yeah, I think we discussed that would have to be this flashback episode, because Arrow writers want people to stay awake watching it.
Yes.
And that wouldn't be very good.
We don't want to see Oliver sweeping the floor or something.
But Oliver's sleeping on the floor, Felicity down, and he's plugging this plugs in here, and then there's a big explosion behind them, where the computer's just gone up, and they're just like, right, back to square one. And they're more of taking the freighter.
Yeah.
That really wouldn't have worked.
No.
I mean, actually, Felicity, even in this episode, just going on to her, wasn't needed.
No,
and
I do agree with that.
She had the two lines of, hang on, I've got it in my notes here. What was it? No matter where I go, I'm just answering phones. And, please save Oliver.
Yeah.
And that was it. But I mean, if you put more of her in there, into a serious episode like this, it'd have completely changed the tone.
Yeah, and for the type of episode it worked so well. I mean, if they'd done that, it just would have taken the gloss off it completely.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the scenes with Slade because it's funny, just the whole concept of him being there.
Yeah.
That works quite well.
Yeah.
But if you were to have Felicity making jokes all the time...
Yeah, it's a different sort of funny, that, really.
Yeah.
And it just would have detracted from it, really.
So yeah, I liked how when Sarah came down the stairs, Slade had this look of shock and of almost starting to laugh again because, hey look, there's someone else I can kill. Someone who's even more directly related to Shadow's death because she was the one that gets to survive.
Yeah, there's almost a look of glee in his eye.
That's what I put in my notes, that actually Slade, he kind of looked up to hear Sarah's voice, shock, and then about 2 seconds later, saw Sarah's face and thought, actually, this is perfect.
Yeah.
But, that wrote really well. And I loved when Roy's there, and Sarah's there, and Oliver's there, and he goes, well, what would you like to do now then, Mr. Wilson? And it's almost like, to Moira and Thea, it's like, well, would you like to see any more of the house? And to Sarah, Slade and Roy, and the way he actually meant it was, do you want to leave now or get killed?
Yeah.
And that just worked brilliantly. Because you had Slade looking around at Oliver, looking at Sarah, looking at Roy. Well, I hate to break up the party.
Yeah.
And you just knew in that moment that actually Slade thinks, yeah, it's probably a good idea to leave.
Thinking about actually another bit that was quite cool was a bit earlier on when, was it an ice pick Oliver tried to get him with, and he grabs his arm and just smiles.
Yeah. I don't know what he did to his wrist.
No, I think he must have just squeezed it very, very hard.
Well, to be fair, it could have been just like a normal light one, and because obviously with the Mirakuru.
Yeah.
with the firm handshake.
Yeah, I mean, if he squeezed it really, really hard with the Mirakuru, then I would have expected to see bone snapping, probably, but we won't get into gruesome chat.
No. I remember Stephen Amell said, I think it was the day before Time of Death aired in America.
Yeah.
He said on his Facebook about, my hand still hurts from the last scene. They filmed that episode before Christmas. That's 2 months.
I'm not surprised. I mean, that was a hell of a handshake.
Yeah, so, Manu Bennett is obviously very strong.
Yeah.
Even without the Mirakuru. But yes. I liked the end scene. Very interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting touch. You mean with, like, I guess you call them surveillance cameras to a degree, or spy cameras, I don't know.
Yeah, the cameras.
The cameras. Let's go with the cameras.
I mean, when we watched the Time of Death promo, the long one, I actually thought, after watching Time of Death, that the cameras were actually the Clock Kings.
Yeah, I must admit I thought the same.
But I haven't actually had a chance to rewatch the promo yet. And I think maybe that was actually Slade's set of cameras.
I think you might be right, actually. I mean, that's something for us to do in a little bit. But
That
yeah.
was what I first thought, that it was Slade's cameras, and I thought, well, what's he watching then? But, well, now we know.
We do indeed.
But yeah, as I say, it was much fun. Diggle, it was almost pointless of them to kind of leave his fate hanging on edge.
Yeah.
Because we know he's in next week's,
Well, yeah.
Diggle-centric episode. It'd be hard to have a Diggle-centric episode if Diggle's dead.
Yeah, it would a bit. Yeah. That. I mean, the Arrow writers are good, but I'm not sure they're that good.
No, they're not. Maybe they could put Lauren in his place.
Send her into Afghanistan.
Yes, no, they'd probably just go off primarily off the flashbacks.
Hmm.
But that's discussion for later on. We need to talk about who knocked him out, though.
Yes.
Now, Cyrus Gold, just in case those of you who aren't familiar with the comics and have just thought, hang on a minute, he's dead. As far as I remember from Googling a little while back, I will confirm that now, just so that I don't just want to make a theory and then all the comic book fans come at me going, no, you're wrong completely, because that would be very awful. From what I remember, Cyrus Gold in the comics became Solomon Grundy.
Yep.
And he was a zombie.
Mm.
Well, they haven't quite gone to, zombie areas yet. But I think that Walking Dead Arrow crossover that I suggested a little while ago might be coming into it.
Yeah, you never know with that. And I don't know, I think also the way they kind of, it's Three Ghosts, wasn't it? They just sort of zoomed on his face after he'd had all that acid or whatever spit over him. Just, there's something about that kind of...
Didn't seem right.
Yeah, it was like, I guess it was almost like a little subtle hint. If he was just dead, then why do you sort of do that? And I guess his face kind of almost, well, it was a bit zombie-like by then too, so... Yeah, I guess I'd say you're onto something there, and yeah, we'll have to see what unfolds. But it does beg the question: if he is back alive, how the hell do you kill someone who is on Mirakuru? Because we know that Oliver has put an arrow through Slade's eye, as we rather nicely saw at the end of the episode with that sterling CGI job.
Yes.
We also know that he survived a gunshot in the the main scenes of the episode, but we'll get to that later. So, yeah, that's certainly a challenge. How do you kill someone on Mirakuru?
Well, don't you watch The Walking Dead? Just put an axe through their head.
Okay.
I don't quite think that's going to work, and I don't think the Sky would show it. Definitely not.
No, we kind of just have one scene of someone charging with an axe and then jump to the congratulations with just the body on the floor behind them, and we'd all be like, what?
No, I think we get the gist.
Yes.
But yeah, that would be, it's not really a weapon of choice for Oliver though, is it?
No.
And as we've seen in back in The Scientist and Three Ghosts, arrows don't tend to work too well.
No, they don't.
So yeah, as you say, how do you kill someone on Mirakuru and that is a zombie?
Well, maybe Slade answered, I don't know, maybe you gotta chop them into pieces or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I think the only thing that really got me thinking about that was the fact that as Diggle got taken out, Oliver's first words, like half a second later, were Cyrus Gold.
Yeah.
The man in the skull mask. Cyrus Gold came first, and just as Diggle got taken out.
And they do tend to do that a little bit, I've noticed. You know, the little subtle foregrounding.
Yeah, they set things up.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
And sort of hoping that the occasional person might notice.
Yeah.
They don't want everyone to know because that would ruin the surprise, but they just want a few people to think, actually, they could be doing something here. So yeah. I think we've pretty much covered that. Don't you?
Yep, I'll just have a quick scroll up my notes. I think we've... oh yeah, I had one more little discussion point, actually. Towards the end of the episode, obviously, Moira was kind of saying to Oliver, about his behaviour tonight for seemingly being rude to someone she thought was quite nice. Why not come clean with Moira and Thea about it? I mean, are you risking him that much? Because he knows Slade is onto them. Surely it's better to try and keep them away from him. If they know, they might avoid him. I mean, I just wondered about that one, because obviously Roy knows, Sarah knows, Felicity knows, Diggle knows who Slade is, so they know to steer clear. And, he's only got Moira and Thea, well, and Lance, but that's a bit... Laurel and stuff, but that's a bit different. So, why not come clean with him, I guess?
Well, because the Arrow team know that Oliver was on the island with Slade. And that he's obviously the Green Arrow, the Arrow.
Yeah.
Moira and Thea don't know any of that.
Ah, yes, I see it, yeah.
And if he was to say, Slade's dangerous, well really, why is he dangerous? How do you know?
Yeah,
well, because he was... Yeah, he'd have to explain everything, wouldn't he,
Yeah, I probably just didn't think hard enough about that one.
Yeah, but I suppose he could sort of say that, he was on the island with me, but I'm pretty sure before he said that he was on the island alone.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So, and lying seems to be a common trend in the Queen family at the moment, so,
like mother, like son.
Yes, definitely, and like father.
Yes.
Yeah, so, probably better not tell the truth. So, yes, okay. So we'll move on and talk about the flashbacks. Okay, so we're going to talk about the island scenes. They were the majority of the episode. And obviously we had Oliver, Slade and Sarah taking the freighter from Ivo. Well, no, I say taking the freighter, attempting, and failing miserably.
Indeed, as so often seems to be the way.
Yes, I actually remember something happening that I think I actually used the exact phrase of failing miserably, but I can't remember what episode it was from, so I'll ignore it. But yeah, it didn't go so well, did it?
Not really, no. No.
I think it kind of fell apart when there were too many men for him.
Yeah, just a tad.
I mean, he had how many men?
I don't know,
Lot.
I'm crap at maths, so I can't count. There we
Either
go.
way, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And how many were Oliver, Slade, and Sarah?
Just the 3.
Yeah. Well, say 4, because Slade's on Mirakuru.
Yes.
But 2 people going round at once. So yeah, it's not really, odds aren't in their favour, are they?
Not really, no.
Didn't really help when Oliver didn't kill Ivo.
No, if he'd just gone in there and put the arrow through him straight away, then, you know, him and Slade might have got the freighter going away.
And Slade wouldn't be in the present day wanting to kill everyone close to Oliver.
But in some ways that would probably be a bit disappointing for us, so...
Oh yeah, whatever, this storyline. But, yes, thinking about it though, even in the present day, the modern day Oliver wouldn't have taken that shot.
No, I agree.
Like, even in season 1, he'd have put an arrow in his arm or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have killed him.
No, I mean, I did that in season 1 a lot, actually. The sort of main villains anyway, he never seemed to kill them, just the henchmen.
Yeah, and that's how, the Count and people like that still alive.
Yeah.
Well, he was. He's not anymore. But yeah, I mean, he killed Fires last season, but then he was holding Shadow hostage. So, Shadow's dead.
Yeah.
Maybe if he was holding someone like Sarah hostage,
I think he would have killed him then.
he would have killed him then.
Yeah.
I think that's what it needed. But, being it now, everything's screwed. Basically.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, Kinyazev, the preacher guy, and I didn't actually notice that the other guy got onto the back onto the island. I thought it was just Sarah, the preacher, and Kinyazev, but you said that the big guy who was beating on Sarah.
I'm not sure if he did actually. I think, he got knocked out because he got smacked with, what was that, a pole or something by the preacher guy. And,
Yeah, something like that.
I don't really know what happened to him, to be honest. I can't actually remember seeing him get to the island. Well, I guess we might find out, or he'll just be a bit irrelevant and we'll forget about him. So
I thought it was just the 3 of them because there were 4 people that jumped off because there were Kinyazev, Sarah, the preacher, and then Oliver tried to jump off and got caught.
Yes, they just flipped him right back on the boat, quite literally.
Yeah, it was just no force at all.
No.
But, yeah, obviously the effects on Mirakuru.
Yep.
Starting to control them. It's interesting to see those training scenes at the start.
Yeah, it's a nice little montage. That. And I guess from that we can kind of sort of guess that a fair bit of time's passed since the last set of flashbacks we had, when they were preparing to take the freighter. The facial hair was a bit of a clue. But yeah, he got quite good, so. I'm
pretty sure Slade's facial hair got longer, considerably, between Oliver being captured by Slade, being dragged back onto the boat, and the scene where he was like, "Show me how you killed Shadow."
I think it did it too, actually. Maybe that's another side effect of Mirakuru. Who knows?
Yeah, it went back to the kind of stuff one he had back in Blast Radius.
Yeah.
It's all very weird. But yeah, what was I going to mention? Oh yeah, the training scenes had 2 purposes: to show us that a lot of time's passed, and to try to convince us that Oliver tripping on that route wasn't a plan.
Yeah. Yeah, because he got past there with ease. Yeah, if I'm honest, when he did trip on that, I didn't think it was part of the plan. I thought it was just kind of making a bit of a joke that he's not quite there yet, because obviously it just come before, hadn't it, when he missed with the initial flaming arrow.
Oh, that was funny. Just like, we don't have all day. And then just the kind of sudden the long pause, and then just the there's a breeze. It was the sigh as well that got it awesome.
Yeah.
I think it seemed obvious to me that as a plan when there was no sort of cut to Slade and Sarah looking down and seeing Oliver Trip and going, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean...
That was kind of a massive giveaway.
Yeah, and I mean, they probably would have gone down there anyway if it wasn't part of the plan. Well, I don't know. But, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and, I mean, I didn't actually pick this up at the time, but as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that was so obvious. I should have predicted that. With the sodium pentothal. When he started telling the lies about the raft, I just thought, oh, that's what that mixture was. I should have guessed that. Because we saw in the promotional photos, I think it was, you said, I think it was off air, about that it was potentially him being injected with Mirakuru.
Yeah, I remember that.
We should have got that. It was the truth serum thing.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's pretty awful on our part. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we haven't really seen much of Roy training, to be fair. So, seeing training scenes finally was nice.
Yeah.
In contrast to Roy's 5-second, 1-arrow shot of miss.
Yes.
Yeah, that really didn't count as training. They could do with actually putting some decent training scenes in there for Roy.
Yeah, that'd be good to see. Not him just breaking training equipment as we saw in Tremors.
Yes. Slade obviously was very, very angry.
Yeah.
So much so that he cut off Ivo's hand.
Yes. Yeah, that was rather vicious. I mean, I thought that scene was awesome. The whole thing, because he's just, it's just sort of so gone by then. It's just anger. He's just saying, I don't care to most things. And he did make the promise then as well, didn't he, after he cut off his hand when he went back to Oliver?
Yeah, that was another thing that we just knew from weeks ago. We just didn't know we knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, on the first time I watched that, I just thought, he swung the Slade. He swung the sword. Slade swung the sword. He swung the sword, and I didn't actually see what happened.
No, I actually thought he'd just, done it across his back. It wasn't until I watched it the second time that
that's what I thought. I thought that.
Yeah, but I thought it was I don't know, imagine getting sort of stabbed and have a sort of drag down your back hurts, but I kind of just sort of thought it was a bit of a overreaction to that in some ways. But anyway, yeah.
Well, obviously losing your hand isn't exactly an overreaction.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. What else was there in the island? Oh yeah, Kinyazev is still alive.
Yep.
Was that him saving his life, or?
I'm not sure. Part of me thinks... I guess it depends in some ways if he's got more of a role to play in the present day, which part of me would think he has. But I would have thought if that was it, they'd kind of...
Make a deal out of it.
Yeah, it was kind of just a bit of a passing thing. And I don't know, kind of... If that was it, I would have expected it to be a little bit bigger, but I guess we'll have to see. So,
yeah, I mean, I really hope it wasn't because Kinyazev is hilarious.
Yeah.
what was it? He goes, I told you I'd come back. Oh no, I've forgotten the quote now. I've got it in my notes somewhere. Fantastic, we're saved. Yeah. in that kind of sarcastic, just like a, yay, great. Yeah, that was funny. But he was good in the present day, even in Keep Your Earnings Closer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With his whole, if Oliver Queen vouches for you, you're my second favourite American. So, maybe they should make him a series regular. We could have more of his fun all week. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make Anatoly Kinyazev. I've actually got his name right.
Well done.
I think. It's only taken us a couple of weeks. 2 podcasts and quite a few months in between. Yeah, make him and Sin regulars, and then we can have fun.
Yep, that sounds a plan to me.
Yes. So what do you think Slade's plan's going to be now on the island?
That's interesting. I mean, he's almost got a bit of a force with him now, because the curse of the captains of the Amazon continued.
Well, we know that
dead.
we know that no one's going to kill him because he's alive 5 years later.
Yes.
But even if we didn't know that, we probably guess that, well, he's not going to be dead because, well, who the hell's going to be able to kill him?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously he's going to make Oliver's life hell, one would assume. I guess that's all it is, really. It's just about revenge. I guess he's going to be doing the same to Ivo as well. Maybe just torture Ollie in the mornings, lunch break, torture Ivo in the evenings.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, and repeat.
Yeah, that'd be, interesting. Yeah. What I'm actually looking forward to in the island, or the flashbacks I should call them now, because it's not strictly on the island anymore, is the dual storyline. Because obviously you're going to have Slade and Oliver on the freighter.
Yeah.
And Sarah, the preacher, and Kinyazev on the island.
Yeah.
So you have a dual storyline within, the other part of the episode.
I think they've probably needed that as well, to open them up a little bit more, because I think obviously we've seen in a few previous episodes the flashbacks have been quite quick. The length of time they're actually in there hasn't been very long. I mean, I'm not sure it's too different to normal, but it seemed a little bit less. But I'm not sure I think it was just the way the storyline made it. They weren't getting up to heaps in the flashbacks. So you couldn't really sustain them too long. But like you said, they've got two storylines going for them now, and it's going to be good to see.
Yeah, I mean, the potential is that they could go the Lost and the Walking Dead route of one storyline at a time. So they focus on one storyline, one character per episode.
Yeah.
But, I mean, actually thinking about it, the Arrow writers don't tend to like that kind of approach.
No, they just sort of get it all out there.
Yeah. But I mean, I think maybe the kind of dual flashback story.
Yeah.
Probably won't work that well. So I mean, they could go the route of one. So kind of alternate every week. Like they've got a bit of Sarah this week. Next week we've got more of Slade.
I mean, it'd probably work like that on an episode-to-episode basis if, they were all like this week, where you've got the island scenes as the main thing, but in the flashbacks, for what you want to fit into each episode, it wouldn't, it'd struggle to work.
Well, you mean both at the same time, or one at a time, what wouldn't work?
Both at the same time.
Yeah, you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Because you get 4 flashbacks an episode maximum?
Yeah,
so you get 2 per episode for each story.
Yeah, you're not going to have time to develop the mini story in the flashbacks enough.
No. And if you do have one at a time, you can have sort of bits being learned in one place and then the next week bits being learned again and sort of a different reaction to them. And that kind of aspect of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be interesting to see. Yeah. We have to touch on Slade calling Oliver and he brothers.
Yeah.
That went really well, didn't it?
Yeah, that kind of backfire where he's made to kind of regret it. Well, I don't know if he really regretted saying it, but he kind of perhaps felt a bit stupid for saying it a little while later, as he now wants to kill him. Well, not kill him straight away, make his life live in misery. But yeah, I thought it was a nice little line, because I think we've known that Oliver and Slade, they are friends, but I don't think we've ever really sort of seen them admit to it. I mean, we saw how, obviously, before Tommy found out Oliver's secret identity, we saw how they were friends, and you never really had that kind of friendship with Oliver and Slade. Well, mainly because of the type of person Slade is, but there's a nice little acknowledgement, and I guess you can see that he valued his friendship as well to say that, and sort of it was a little acknowledgement to they've come a long way. I guess it's just a little sad for him that a little while later he wanted to, kill Oliver. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, it's almost like one of those things where it was almost perfect for Oliver to kind of use it as a thing to say, well look, you called his brother, so why can't we get past this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work, Oliver.
No.
So, but yeah, it was interesting to see that. But you just kind of knew, like, that was the final nail in the coffin of, yeah, you know that they're going to have the massive, Slade's going to find out this episode and hate Oliver forever now.
Yeah, as soon as he said we're brothers, you absolutely knew what was going to come by the end of the episode.
It's like on a TV show when an underused sort of main character goes to one of the overused the normal kind of like high-level main characters, telling them that they love them, and then immediately just know that they're going to die.
Yes.
Because that's just the way that TV works.
Indeed it is.
So, you just knew it.
Yeah.
Last little thing, as far as I can see, actually no, there's two more things. Ivo, we learned why he's doing this.
Yep.
And it was pathetic.
Yeah, I don't think that was needed. I mean, I think we've talked about he's been a pretty good villain, completely cold and horrible. And it was just a bit of a rehash of the whole Clock King motive from last week, because, he was doing the things for his sister who was ill, and Ivo was doing this for his wife, I presume, who was ill.
Yeah, it was, because she said on the radio that she was married to a guy named Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, it just, if you'd hinted at it before, then fair enough, but you just had no hint of it at all. When he was talking to Sarah, I think it was Blind Spot, trying
our favourite episode.
Our favourite episode in the world.
I'm sure you had to, it didn't have to take much refreshing on the memory to remember that fantastic scene from a fantastic episode.
Oh, no, I've got it imprinted in my memory. I can rewatch it all in my mind.
Not for the right reasons.
No. But, no, because I think also that scene was weird. I mean, he's talking about Neen and Sarah and stuff. Sort of, part of me thinks he was just trying to manipulate her, but the whole thing of saying all that when he's got a wife and he's doing all this for her, it just seems a bit weird now. It just didn't really work.
Yeah, he is the equivalent of, pre-Island Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the whole getting in an apartment with Laurel. No, I'm going to take your sister on the boat. But yes, I mean, the whole thing about it was, if they'd introduced this before Three Ghosts,
yeah,
it would have been better. But now, 6 episodes after he's killed Shadow,
yeah,
and he's killed the woman that 2 people love.
Yeah,
it's almost like you could say to him, well, how would you feel if someone did that to your wife?
Yeah.
I mean, presumably she's dying anyway. But I mean, it's like he's willing to kill someone that 2 people love to get this Mirakuru for his wife. It's not work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it just felt thrown into the episode. I guess it was just unnecessary, really. I mean, we'd had the whole creepy thing of he told Sarah he's going to save the human race, and I think the idea of just having him delusional, wanting to be a god, makes such a massive difference. Proceeding like that, just the whole nut job aspect, I thought that really worked, and kind of just the sympathetic aspect with him doesn't work. Sometimes it works with villains, but definitely not with Ivo. He was better how he was.
Yeah, I mean, it worked with Slade because you've obviously got that sort of side of him before.
Yeah.
It worked a little bit with Malcolm because obviously you've got the Tommy connection. Obviously you like Tommy.
Yeah.
So you sort of, you don't feel so much for Malcolm, but you feel for Tommy in the fact that his dad is this monster.
Yeah.
It's sad for him. Then he died, of course. You know, not a great week for him. Finding your dad's a serial killing murderer who destroys half cities, and then you die.
Yeah, it's probably had better weeks than that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the worst weeks anyone can have. But, yeah. Telling us that Ivo has a wife and that he's doing this for her doesn't make us like Ivo any more than we did.
I mean, in the same episode, he was trying to extract someone's eye. I mean, talk about juxtaposition of that. I mean, those scenes were quite close together. So you've had him trying to take out someone's eye for research, and then you're trying to get us to feel sympathy for him because he's doing this all for his wife.
Yes. Yeah, it's not the best.
No.
Yeah, that is a bit of a flaw. The final thing, definitely the final thing this time. The two masks, the double mask scene. Well, there are two different scenes, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It was. We knew they were going to happen, and
yeah.
You know all that, but it was still brilliant.
It was.
But yeah, Slade putting on the Deathstroke mask was the better bit. Better than Oliver with the hood, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time Oliver's put on the hood, but we've seen him put on the hood a hell of a lot of times already, you know, in the present day. And
we've seen Slade take off the Deathstroke mask once.
We've never seen him put it on.
And that's the new one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see the original one.
Yes.
But, yeah, that was quite a lot of fun. And the fact was that Slade is the very violent type of, like, find Ivo, but don't kill him. You know, that worked really well with the mask.
Yeah, I think also that scene a little while after, was like flickering lights and stuff, and he was especially making his way through the screen. That was awesome.
I think the lights were yellow as well, so it worked really well in the contrast to the mask.
Yeah.
Of the yellow and black. So, you know, the production team did quite well there.
Indeed they did.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, the mention of Wintergreen.
Yep, that was nice.
Yes, it's been a while since we've mentioned his name.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Deathstroke that tortured Oliver, like in episode 5 last year.
Yep. And then got a blade through his eye.
Yeah. What is it with people wearing Deathstroke masks and stuff going through their eye?
That's a very good question.
There's a serious curse.
Yeah, so the captains of the freighter are cursed. Well, you'd imagine Slade isn't going to be. Well, he's going to get something through his eye in the end, but
the bar staff are cursed, remember?
Oh, yep, I remember that.
From last week, yes. And, who else is cursed? Oh yeah, maybe, was Deadshot wearing the Deathstroke mask?
Well, he might.
No.
Maybe he's got one stashed away at home.
Maybe. Part of the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Maybe they've got one sort of hidden away. But yes. Okay then. Okay, so let's talk about some odds and ends in this episode. I know I say it almost every episode podcast, but the music truly was awesome.
Yep, I totally agree on that one.
We had actually made notes from where I've heard them before. So the previously had the music from Sacrifice, where Oliver said to Malcolm, "We stopped the device," and then he says about one thing I've learned from being a successful businessman: redundancy.
Yeah.
And it was that music.
Yep.
Right, where's the next bit? Oliver putting on the hood was the exact same music as when he put on the mask back in Three Ghosts.
Yep.
Where is it? When Slade placed the cameras, when they show him looking at the screens,
yep,
It's the monologue music,
Oh, yeah.
intertwined with some Deathstroke music. I don't know if there was anything else I noticed. I'm sure there was another piece of music. But possibly not. No, I don't think there was. But yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, music in this show is awesome. Builds the mood so well. Just adds to it. And I think that's probably one of the things you can definitely rely on episode to episode for the music to be awesome.
As I said, the music in the house sort of reflected really well in the fact that Slade just being there and everything he's saying is humorous to the viewers because it's so great that it's there, and it's kind of that kind of thing of it. While Oliver's just like, yeah, I'm not liking this at all, and the music reflects that.
Yeah.
So they always use the music well, and Blake Neely does a fantastic job. And all of these better be on the season 2 soundtrack, because I don't want to have to keep going back and watching scenes to listen to the great music. You know, I might try and find a way to put it as my ringtone or something. Hear it all the time.
A cool ringtone.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, Deathstroke music.
You get
Why
some
not?
overly paranoid Arrow fans turning around frantically looking to see where Slade Wilson's coming from.
Yes, definitely. Yes. I think we mentioned the arrow firing into the breeze.
Yeah.
It's funny. He comes a long way in 3.5 years from there to the one where he's running across the island in the pilot.
Yeah.
Running across the island and then firing as he jumps.
Just wonder who's gonna. Well, that's a question for another day. But how he's gonna train now? If he's at a stage where he can kind of train himself, or he needs someone else. But yeah, he's still got a long way to come, like you say.
Yes, not quite sure. We had the Prochnost again.
Yep.
From Kinyazev. I can't even remember what that means. I was going to look it up, but I've forgotten. It was strength, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Oliver, Slade, and Sarah drinking from the rum.
Yeah, that was in the present day as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it was almost great how Oliver was kind of standing there drinking and Slade was like, to friendship. Yeah. Considering that the dramatic tension in that room could have been cut with the bluntest of knives ever.
Yes.
Shadow killing Oliver in the dream.
Yep.
That was a bit weird.
I guess that's the deal. I wonder if he's had more. If he had more dreams like that.
I don't know. See, when I first saw it, because it was as Slade fell asleep. I thought it was Slade's dream.
Yeah, I thought that too. Actually, I was expecting it to be Slade, and then it's Oliver, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, and even when she was still kind of standing there talking about how Oliver chose Sarah, I always thought, maybe this is Slade's dream. His Mirakuru had made him psychic. Something. But obviously it wasn't. Because I had wondered from like the producer's preview why Oliver was kind of lying on his knees, kind of hyperventilating before he goes to put on the arrow mask.
Yeah.
The hood. Sorry. It didn't quite make much sense. But obviously now it does.
Yeah.
What do you think about the preacher guy?
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, obviously we know he's going to play a bigger role on the island. Yeah, I thought I seemed a decent guy. He has rats apparently that he keeps. Did he keep them in a cup or something?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember what is the one that went to Oliver. I can't remember what his name was.
No, I can't. No.
He named his rats anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, he's a crazy guy.
Yeah.
But he seems quite alright.
Yeah, he seems a nice sort of crazy, whereas Slade now on the boat is a bad sort of crazy.
He's a different kind of crazy in the fact that he's psychotic killer now.
Yes.
The preacher guy could end up in a mental facility.
Yeah.
For, bleh, kind of thing. I've seen quite a few theories, quite a few people actually say that, what if it's Felicity's dad?
That could be interesting.
And I didn't believe any single one of them. It just seemed weird.
Yeah, I sort of... It wouldn't surprise... It's something it's sort of crazy enough to see them doing that, but because they've already sort of brought the backstory of Sin in the flashbacks, it'd feel a bit strange to do it again, with another character, another dad of another character in the present day.
Yeah. But he obviously has some sort of bigger purpose, because
Definitely.
he wouldn't have gone to the island otherwise.
No.
I think actually that's probably what says to me that Knyazev hasn't actually had his life-saving moment yet.
No, I agree with that.
To be fair, Oliver didn't really save his life, did he?
No.
Thinking about it. Sarah was the one that let him out.
Yeah.
And then he jumped off the freighter.
Yeah.
So Sarah and himself saved him. Not Oliver.
No.
In fact, it was... I suppose he did to a degree, actually, because he fired the arrow at the guy, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then Knyazev saved Oliver.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So they're even at this point.
Yeah.
So he's still got to save his life yet.
Yeah.
So, yes. We've still got that to look forward to. Oh yes, I'm still not believing the fact that they managed to parachute onto the freighter from there.
That was a hell of a long way to parachute.
I'm just not having it.
No.
Because, as I said on the podcast last week, it was the highest kind of hills are in the centre of the island.
Yeah.
So okay, getting better height, but you're further away from the freighter.
Yep, that's true.
So, but I'm prepared to let it go. Because, otherwise it wouldn't have got to the freighter and then would have been quite entertaining.
Well, yep, that's very true.
So, my last little piece, sorry, I've got two more. When Felicity said about no matter where I go, I'm just answering phones. Well, she's a secretary.
Yeah, so...
To be fair.
Yeah.
she shouldn't really complain.
No, I mean, it's kind of in her job description.
Yes, and I found the bit where the other music came from.
Okay, yeah.
When Sarah hears the voice.
Ah, yes.
That was also from the monologue.
Yeah.
And then it followed that with, what's your biggest gun?
Yeah.
And Deal gets this massive box. That might work. Might? When you get a gun that size and it might work, you're in trouble.
You do.
So, yeah. Have you got anything? Because I think I'm done.
Yeah, I've got a few things. One thing I was wondering, is Mirakuru slightly addictive? Because obviously Slade kept them. Is it just a power thing that he wants to keep him? He doesn't want it destroyed? Or what?
I think he has some sort of further use for it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really need it, does he? For himself.
No.
Unless he plans to inject himself a few more times.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And just make himself beyond superhuman. That'd be weird. I think we discussed that before, if Slade's been injected even further.
Yeah, I think we did actually. Yeah, it rings a bell.
But yeah, that'd be weird.
I also got the, when Oliver and Sarah were talking about if they don't make it chat. I thought that was interesting, because Sarah wanted, him to tell her family, she didn't get off that she died on the Gambit, which obviously he did. And because she wanted them to remember her as she was, but Oliver wanted to be remembered how he is now. He wanted them to know he wasn't that same kid. I just thought that was an interesting little comparison.
Yeah, and it was nice to see kind of the whole Sarah side of it, because up to this point we don't really know why he said that Sarah died on the Gambit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a nice little bit of backstory there.
Yep. What else have I got? Just to general question. It's not just in Arrow, but I swear everywhere the bad guys or whatever always seem to squirt their syringes, and I just don't know why, because you waste half of what you got in there anyway.
Yeah. I'm not sure they actually do that in real life.
No, I'm not sure they do. I don't know. If we have any medical health professionals listening to us, then please let us know.
They probably do it, to be fair, to test the syringe works.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that wouldn't go good. Because if you put air into someone,
Yeah.
then you're screwed. You're in serious trouble then. But, yes.
Yeah, last point I've got is from the present day, sort of the end of the flashbacks, just basically the promise Slade makes. And basically, his whole motive seems to be Oliver. It's just destroying Oliver. It's not like destroying the city, taking over that. It's just his focus needs to be on Oliver and making his life as difficult as possible. And I thought perhaps when those two were walking, you saw the relationship as it perhaps ended on the island more there, because Slade kind of dropped the false charm and everything. He's a lot colder. Just said 5 years ago, I made you a promise, I'm here to fulfill it. It just kind of reinforced the motive and opened up, got us ready for just reminding us of what's to come.
Yeah, I think I said it in, I think it might have been Blind Spot. Yeah, great. Lovely memory. About saying Slade working with Blood. Blood wants to supposedly heal the city, but obviously that's not going to work. But I think I was saying about if Blood was to kill everyone in the city that wasn't close to Oliver, Slade would not care one bit.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
But if he touched someone like Diggle or Moira or someone, that's when he would kill Blood.
Yes.
Because everyone close to him is Slade's to kill. So yeah, he's not really bothered by the Mirakuru threat at all, is he? It's just sort of like using Blood to try and get himself further into the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And obviously Blood wants the Mirakuru in exchange for that.
Yep.
Which he doesn't seem to have gotten, and we haven't seen Blood for a couple of episodes.
No. I'm guessing he'll pop up again soon.
If it wasn't for the fact that we've seen him in the promo, the 3-minute promo, I'd have said that Slade's killed him.
Yeah.
But we've seen him, so that could be difficult. I think Slade will kill him pretty soon.
I think so too, yeah.
Because I don't think Slade was very happy with him back in Three Ghosts, and quite a few episodes have passed since then. And you had his idiocy and blind spot of killing his mother. And when he walked into Slade's office, a short guy, obviously nervous, obviously his first time. How have they not arrested you yet? Exposure much.
Yeah. I just noticed I got one more point actually. Where was it? Sarah saying about not a voice you ever forget. Just wondering if, because obviously Oliver thought she'd died, does Slade kill her? Kill in inverted commas on the island?
I don't know. We know that one of them, they both think she's dead. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Here's a question for you. Did Slade, I don't think he did, but did Slade know that Sarah was alive before she showed up in Oliver's house?
I don't think he did, judging by that look he gave her. He seemed totally surprised. I think if he knew and like you say, afterwards he, like we were saying, he sort of just got that look of total glee, like, yeah, another person I can mess with. I don't think he did know she was alive, and then obviously saying she's come back from the dead, he would have known, I would have thought that she died on the island anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it was reported actually, her coming back.
I don't think it was, to be honest.
But it was in Heir to the Demon, so it was sort of and that was toward the end of the episode, wasn't it, when you had the whole kidnapping scene and Laurel appearing from nowhere.
Yeah.
But I think obviously even if he did know, even if he didn't know, which I don't think he did, he's gonna say that anyway, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think obviously there was news stories about it, because otherwise they wouldn't have believed him.
No.
But it was certainly an interesting little scene.
Yeah. It's a good scene.
I was actually thinking before the episode, maybe Sarah can just avoid Slade for a while, and sort of save herself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That would have been the logical option, surely.
Yeah.
Because now she's dead, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Especially when you consider that Laurel's the canary in the comics.
Yeah.
It doesn't bode well for her.
Like we said as well, I think I just sort of can't see Slade's plan playing out without someone dying. Like,
Yeah, you can't have that and just not kill anyone.
no, you've got to have consequences for it.
Yeah. Even if Slade's plan fails, like, to full extent,
Yeah.
he's got to have something. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, you like Shadow and you like Slade before Shadow died and everything, so you can't just kind of ignore all that.
No.
So, yes. Okay then, we need to move on and talk about next week's episode.
Yep.
It's called Suicide Squad. I'm just getting the press release up now because I haven't been organised at all. But it's, well, from what we can tell, it's definitely going to be one of those ones where Diggle is not going to be very happy when they meet.
Yeah. It's probably not with his favourite people. Well, it's with people who's in fact helped put away. So.
Yeah, and I mean the whole kind of Deadshot element to it.
Yeah, he's not his favourite person. Well, he's definitely not his favourite person.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did something to Diggle. I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been something to do with his brother and maybe killing him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yes, I don't think that's the sort of thing you forgive. No. Here's the press release. Amanda Waller sends the Suicide Squad out on their first mission. Following Slade's return and promise to make good on his threat to destroy all of his loved ones, Oliver focuses all of his energy on preparing for battle with his former friend. Sarah tries to help out, but fearing for her safety, Oliver pushes her away. Meanwhile, Diggle is recruited by Amanda Waller and Argus to stop a warlord he knew from his time in Afghanistan. Always a soldier, Diggle agrees to help. However, he's not prepared when Amanda introduces him to the rest of the team. Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, and Shrapnel. All criminals he and Arrow help put away. All of which, well, other than Deadshot because he escaped, all of which were this season.
Yep.
Lila defends the team and explains the world is a complicated place, but Diggle isn't sure he agrees. When the mission takes a dangerous turn, Diggle is forced to make a difficult decision. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see. And interesting to see how all these characters react with one another. And yeah, I guess we might find a little bit more info about, obviously we're going to get some backstory of Dig in the flashbacks. Might get a bit more about his brother as well. And I think, like, he's been in the background a little bit underused perhaps previous episodes, so now he gets his time to shine.
I mean, his role lately has been either to be the sniper and get knocked out, or to settle the disputes between Oliver and Felicity.
Yeah, that's it.
That's not a role of someone who's a partner. But, yes. It's certainly going to be a fun episode.
Yeah.
You know, Diggle working with Deadshot. And everyone. I think when the promo, what was it, the kind of, who OJ mentioned that OJ and Charles Manson or someone weren't available.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yes. It could be quite interesting. Actually watching the promo, it seemed to have that kind of a modern technological feel to it. I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah, I'm just going to watch the promo on mute as we talk, and but yeah, I do know what you mean with that. And yeah, I mean, it looks like we've got some good stuff in it too. I think especially that sort of modern, futuristic type thing came with the prison corridor. I guess it was when he gets the, when he meets him for the first time. I guess it is.
Yeah, I think I had that modern feel in there, and when Deadshot was there with the gun.
Yeah.
Because Deadshot always feels modern with the whole eye patch and everything. Deadshot's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Even if we're not supposed to like him, we do.
Yeah.
More than Laurel.
Definitely more than Laurel.
Yeah.
We've also got Oliver at the end there, back to, was it Alexei Leonov, I think it is, and the Bratva.
Oh, yes. The Bratva, yes.
And beating two guys and then pointing a gun at Leonov himself.
Two guns,
yeah.
One in the other hand.
Yep.
It is very strange for Oliver to be holding a gun.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't have any theory whatsoever about to what that's about, but that's going to be interesting to see why he's there and why he's having to, point guns at him.
I think what's probably going to happen is it's going to be like what we discussed on the island, where you've got the dual storyline of Oliver's going after Slade and Deal's doing this thing with the Suicide Squad. And the week after, you've got Oliver going after Slade, and the Huntress comes back into town, he has to put that on hold for a little while.
Yep.
Then goes back to Slade. And then you've got Deathstroke episode, which is just going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
You just know it.
Yeah.
So, yes. Do you have any more thoughts on this episode or the next one?
I don't think so. I've sort of... No, I think I'm pretty much got everything out there now. So, yeah. You got anything else?
No, I don't think so. Other than it's going to be a very interesting end to the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we've got some big episodes coming up.
Yeah, and it was nice. It was like, this episode was almost a direct sequel to The Odyssey in the fact that they did the exact same job. Turn the entire series on its head.
Yeah.
You know, we've gone from the first season, we went from kind of the just organised, random killing of people on a list to actually trying to stop something and everything like that. It didn't really change in that episode, but you could feel it change.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
This episode did literally turn it on its head in the episode and for future episodes.
Yeah.
So, it's always a positive when that happens. And, hopefully we'll get another Island episode next year.
Yep, that'd be nice. Be interesting to see where we're at in the flashbacks by then.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Okay then, I hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next week.